Hello everyone and welcome to my studio, the Pottery Corner on the south coast of England near Chichester, for a Top Tip Tuesday video. We haven't done one for a few weeks, so I thought that today I would do a Top Tip Tuesday, and I am entitling it How to Use Oxides on Your Pottery Pieces. So oxides are another way that you can decorate your work. And if you have a look at my channel, you'll see that there are other Top Tip Tuesday videos outlining how to use underglazes and coloured slips. So this is sort of following on from those videos. So do subscribe to my channel and have a look at that. And this one, we're going to be looking at oxides today. So we use oxides in various ways. You can use oxides on greenware. You can use it on biscuit ware. You can use it over a glaze. So it is very versatile. Personally, for me, I use oxide on biscuitware. I don't use it on greenware because I find that it smudges when it comes out from the biscuit firing. You can very easily smudge the oxide once it's been biscuit fired. So I do use it on biscuit fired work. So I'm just going to show you a few examples of different oxides. Now the oxides themselves come in powdered form. So this one is cobalt oxide, and as you can see it's a very, very fine powder and it's very, very strong. So cobalt oxide will make a blue, like a sort of a quite intense blue, and you have to be careful how you use it. There is copper carbonate, so this one is copper carbonate, and this one is a very fine green powder, light green powder. There's copper oxide, which is probably the one that I use the most. Copper oxide will turn things green, obviously, but if it's used on unglazed work, will stay black. So that one is the copper oxide. There's red iron oxide, which again is in powdered form, and it's this colour, this kind of sort of terracotta colour. And then there is chrome oxide, which is a darker, so that one is chrome oxide, and that's a darker green. So these pieces that I've put out to show you, this is copper oxide added to a bisqued piece, and you can see that where the copper oxide is thick enough, it's actually turned black. So that is copper unglazed. So if you use copper on your work and it's unglazed, it will look like that. Joe's piece that came out of the kiln fire, the glaze kiln opening that we did the other day, this is Joe's piece. This is red iron oxide on here. So this is crank, which is the clay body, and then she's used red iron oxide over the top, and there's no glaze over that, so it kind of just stains the clay, gives it a different texture, different colour on there. This piece, which is hand built, has got various oxides on it, copper oxide being the main one, which is why it's kind of black on the edges, but there is some of the chrome oxide on there, which has got a very slight tinge of green. I'm not sure if you can see that. There's a bit here that is tinged green, and then I have flecked over that and underglaze with a toothbrush. So, but that piece you can see where obviously I've put the copper oxide and the chrome oxide on from the top and just let it find its way down the piece, and there's not so much at the bottom. So that's what that one is. Diane, again, this is a student's piece, has used copper oxide rubbed back on this piece. So where the flower texture is, to give it some definition on her piece, she's put the copper oxide over the texture and then wiped it back with a sponge with hardly any water on. So a damp sponge with basically nothing on. So take as much off as she can, but leaving the copper in the texture to show up, and then glazed with a green glaze over the top. So that is that one. This one again is Diane's piece, and on this piece we've used the copper oxide on this textured section here. And again, because it's not glazed, it's gone black. But interestingly, on the very, very edge here, where there's a tiny little bit of glaze, you can see that that has turned green. So if you glaze over the top of copper oxide, it will turn green. Okay, so that's that. You can vary the thickness or density of your copper or whatever you're putting on, obviously, by, you know, if you really, really put a lot on, then you're going to get a black surface like this one. So this again is a hand-built sculptural poppy head. And I've gone very heavy on the application of the copper oxide on here, and it's almost turned it black. So this is the same clay body as this. So you can see how far it's gone with a thick application of copper oxide. So that's that one. Now I was just going to show you this. This is Joe's piece. So it's not yet been glaze temperature fired. It's bisque fired. So this is craft crank in its bisque state, this peachy colour. And Joe has added red iron oxide to the whole of the inside of this piece, and then has let it flow on the edges and on the top here. And that's a good way of doing it, because it won't look like that when it's actually fired, but it will give it some definition on those pieces on the top. So that is that one. Pop that up there gently. Again, testile, you know me, testiles. I do make testiles with some of the green glazes. So this is copper oxide on a transparent glaze. So you can see here, this is practically clear, transparent glaze. And on here, I've puffed a bit of oxide and that has turned it green. And this one is Amos wasabi. So again, it's wasabi here, and then with the copper oxide over. So you can see it gives you sort of like a very different colour green. And this one is Amos ice with copper oxide over the top. And again, you can see the difference in the green. So they're all slightly different when you actually put the copper on. So again, you can alter the colours of your glazes by using oxides. This is red iron oxide, not glazed, and this is red iron oxide with a clear glaze over. So again, I always do testiles because it's really interesting to see what happens to the oxides when you use them. Now, in terms of application,